Hey there, my beautiful listeners. I'm here to give you a heads up. I've gotten some really great feedback from listeners suggesting ways to handle the unspoiled Harry Potter feed, and messages from a lot of you about what the show means to you. Some of you suggested adding a short clip explaining our current stance on J.K. Rowling in front of every episode, which, while I really do like that idea, there is not a logistically feasible way to do that. And it also wouldn't fully address my complicated feelings about having the most popular show I've ever done for Unspoiled, and the one that most readily shows up in Google searches, revolving around a property which I can no longer stand by today, but which has me and Rashawn frozen in time, speaking of J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter with glowing praise and affection. However, I also don't feel like deleting it is the right thing to do. Based on all the messages I got, I truly believe the work Rashawn and I put in still has value, regardless of the property it's attached to. And I also think the way our relationship with the property has evolved is important to acknowledge. Just pretending something didn't happen isn't a healthy or effective way to deal with controversies. So what I've decided to do is set the entire feed to limited access on March 15th, 2023. At that time, I'll be sharing the private URL and RSS with Spoiled Brats on Patreon. With the URL, it can be accessed online via Spreaker on their website, and the private RSS link can be used on all your podcatchers to just pull the feed like a regular podcast. I'll delete all irrelevant episodes from the feed, such as the John Wick coverage, promo episodes for Akio Box, etc., and I'll add the remaining Harry Potter reread episodes that had previously only been available via individual posts on Patreon. This way, it can be listened to from beginning to end without off-topic interruptions, and it will just be a streamlined experience for everybody. And also, of course, I'll turn off all the ads. This way, the feed can still exist for people who find it important to them, but it won't be the dominant unspoiled title anymore. Patrons will still have access, and they'll also have a much more user-friendly experience than listening through the Patreon feed, which has definitely had issues. This was not an easy decision for me to make. I know it's not a perfect solution. There are some who think taking it down is the only sound option, but I think that's much easier to say when you're not the creator who poured years of your life into something. This was one of the very first shows I ever did after taking over Unspoiled post-divorce. I'm sorry. And the time spent talking before and during recordings was a huge factor in me and Rashawn becoming such close friends that she ended up officiating my wedding. It means a lot to me. And in that respect, I'm not going to apologize for having it behind a paywall. Rashawn and I both spent multiple hours every single week for half a decade creating something that I think is really great and growing as people. And frankly, if anyone's going to get paid at all from HP content, I think we deserve it. So thank you all so much for listening and for supporting us. If you want to keep listening after March 15th, head over to patreon.com/unspoiled and become a patron at the Spoiled Brat level to get access to the private feed. If not, no hard feelings, and I hope you enjoyed the show.